and contracts, and we are set to go. So Christian and family, will you please come up? So why don't you stand right in here, and I'm going to go off to the side. And you can mommy in here. Who would you like to hold? You want ready? Hold your mom. No, I want to. Then you probably should have. I can move the table next to it. I just want you all together. See. There we go. That's. I, Christian Navis,
I, Christian Navis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear to
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
support the Constitution
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the Office of Police Chief
the duties of the office of Police Chief
in the Village of Medina
in the Village of Medina
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Sure. That's some good. Are you holding like to present? You want it? Good job. I'm glad you think so. Yeah, it's not good. Right? Well, I thought you Hey.
You get this one?
You want to do it?
You want to do it? Well, it's going to help you, okay? I'll both help. You can all do it together, okay? We go, see? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you. You got
We go. Good job. That was quite a feat. All right, ready?
Keep them you up here first of all. So we're going to do something a little out of order because generally when we appoint a new department head, we allow them their families to celebrate a little bit. So Chief is going to update us on a few things that have been going on in the department.
I just wanted to add that we had our first hire of my tenure here. Dan Wendling had his first day today. His first day started with firearms training because we have the new guns. So we trained on red dots and Article 35. Besides that, it's been busy at the PD, making sure it's running well. And I'll have more for tonight's meeting, more updates. I'd also like to put in that Officer Mark McManus be put in for sergeant. I think it's time. Even today during training, he stepped up and helped me more than I needed. and he's done nothing but be helpful. And he's done really, really great on after your shift. And I think it's time for him to get what's going on.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything for the new chief? Thank you very much. Good job. Did you get the public comment sheet? Okay, at this point in time, not going. Hello. Test, test. Is that working now? Now, okay. At this point in time, I'm going to open the first public comment period. And I have Brian Hellner.
Hi.
Can you come up and speak into the microphone, please?
Good evening. I had a question regarding the minutes of a previous board meeting. I was questioning block safety approval grant. I'm not quite sure how it was determined that we need that type of surveillance equipment. And it looks like there's 4 locations going to be, and I'm concerned about as a business owner, that there's going to be one in the basin. And I guess I'm wondering what rules you have to restrict its use. Is it going to be shared with like ICE, federal community? You know, what sort of arrangements do you have to restrict its use? Is it going to be thrown out into the government? Who's going to have local access? Is it going to be shared with, you know, who? Do you have an actual contract, something we could take a look at to see how it's going to be used?
I'm going to let Trustee or Deputy Mayor Marciano
I'm
address
Jess.
that.
Hi, Jess.
Okay. Those are really good questions and very important questions. And it was some of what you're asking was kind of already on the table for discussion for our local policy. And yeah, there is a contract to be able to look over. As far as the local policy, I've been working with the police chief and some concerned residents, which I will now count you among, and we're going to kind of develop it collaboratively. I met with a bunch of people who had reached out to me previously. I met with them Thursday night at the clerk's office, and there's going to be some ongoing conversations. From my understanding, that the concerned folks, once they kind of have a lot of their questions answered, they'd like to address the board in January. So I'll get you in touch and I can get you some more information. The shorter answer, and I don't want to speak out of turn because, you know, really this is Christian's project. It is not shared federally. It is, because it is a third party that we're utilizing, there's of course concerns with how they're using the data, which is something that, not that they're necessarily sharing it with law enforcement, but that, or with larger law enforcement agencies, but that we're just not really clear on what their safeguards are to keep unauthorized access on their end. On our end, there will only be one administrator, it will be the chief of police, and they will be the only person with local access. If someone from outside of the community or outside of the state has belief that somebody has passed through our area, they would be notified. They would have to notify the chief and contact him and let them know they were interested in seeing if that had popped over there, but not necessarily that. It's not something that would be shared outside of the state. And then inside the state, there's some parameters with that, but now we're too in the weeds for me to be able to speak more knowledgeably on. So yeah, those are definitely questions that have come up. The one that I'm hearing that I've not heard previously was regarding the business in the basin. I know primarily the concerns were, you know, at that license plate tracker and not the camera itself. So I'll be interested to catch up with you and hear some of those. So maybe sometime shortly after the first of the year, we can link up and I can hear a little more about that from you so we can get all of that same information when they present to us what their concerns are.
Is there gonna be like a meeting where you're talking about this group that's gonna change information?
So I wasn't gonna meet with them again, necessarily. We were just gonna communicate by email. However, I'm open to it. So I guess we'll kind of see how it lays out, but at the very least, I want to get your concerns lined up with theirs so everything can kind of get presented together. Yeah, that works. Thanks.
And as far as the need goes, when the chief was looking into ways to spend some technology money, this had come up. And the county is currently looking into the same program and will be adopting it. And the chief had given the board an example of a major theft at one of the car dealerships in Medina. Had we had this in place, we could have found, a lot of time could have been saved in finding the people who stole the vehicles. So that was just one of the examples. Okay, I only had one signed up. Is there anyone else who would like to speak for the first public comment period? Okay, I will close that. Discussions and resolutions. We have Megan Wakefield here to address the board regarding, yes, just turn that one on, the community garden. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so.
If you want to either sit or pick that up, you can do that.
I was gonna say, it's a little awkward sitting. And
Yeah.
Okay, so you might remember I was here in March to propose the idea of a community garden in Medina. I was able to secure some private land from some landowners that were willing to share their own acreage with us to establish one on Prismatic Drive. Across from, there's an apartment complex. It was kind of set back in the woods there, but it was for everybody to be able to use. I'm happy to say that I feel even though with a lot of setbacks with drought and other things that come with the gardening problems, we actually did see a successful season. So I am here today to propose to the board that we potentially establish a new garden at 121 Park Avenue. That is currently the open lot next to the village clerk office. And when I say that lot, there's sort of like a big corner, and I don't necessarily mean like a big unkempt, dried out looking unruly thing that would be a eyesore to the village. What I have envisioned is sort of set back a little bit in that lot where there's a bit of a tree line and a driveway that's no longer in use. So not so out front, but still accessible to the community and on that plot, not taking up the entire plot. I think having a centrally located garden would be an additional advantage to more of the community. Having one centrally located like that would open it out to more people rather than just the serving community over on the east side that we're in right now. Just given the need for food security, and I'm seeing more people that are interested in the food drops and the things that are provided out by the fairgrounds and other organizations, churches. So just anticipating there potentially being more need, I see a garden as a very productive, community-driven way to try to fulfill this need. And so I'm here today to see if it would be potential for me to explore grant funding and other opportunities for there to have a garden on village land.
First of all, thank you very much for heading this up. I've been following it all summer, and it looks like you did overcome obstacles, but it was very, very nice. And I see that you thanked everyone who has helped you get this going, and it does truly take a community to do that. I'm looking back in my notes. There might be a grant that our grant writer just put forth to me that I'll meet with you on for something that you could potentially use and apply for, but I can't put my finger on it right now in my notes. So I think that personally, I think that 121 is a nice spot for something like that. However, we do have that slotted to put a parking lot in when we do our fire edition. And I just spoke with our DPW superintendent about planning ahead for this coming budget year to get that started. I don't know how the rest of the board feels. You know, I know everyone's very supportive of a community garden, but we may have to look at a different spot.
I will say that I did do exhaustive research and trying to find other locations. The one that was on, I want to say Mayhar Street, seemed like it was a little too close to the DPW things for that to potentially work. There was one on Waverly Ave that's very undeveloped, sort of it's a dead end right off of East Orchard Street, and that's so close to the current garden location that I didn't really feel like it made much sense. And the reason why village-owned property is so important is the grant that I'm currently pursuing through the Orleans County Department of Health is it's dependent on it being on village-owned land. So brainstorming other ideas outside, those are the only vacant lots, unfortunately, that seem to be in the village, other than parks, but giving up park real estate, I know would not be ideal.
About the comp.
Compost facility. Yeah, up there near the, you know, compost facility on the other side from the dog park, right?
Yes.
On the other side of the building.
Yes.
That might be a potential.
True. Not as accessible, unfortunately, on foot, but still.
Right, yeah.
What about that spot on Church Street?
So that was, yeah, that was another one that I was looking at. You mean the one that's like directly behind the theater, but over one spot and then next to Short Street? Unfortunately, I don't
Easier
know
when I'm
the
walking
exact.
by.
Yeah, but that one is, it's village owned. It's, right next to the Cardone Trust one behind the, theater, but that was another location that I definitely wanted. There's literally nothing there but Sumac needs.
And there are people in the community in that immediate area who wanted to do that a few years ago and a previous board declined. But we've got a new regime. Maybe there's some more consideration in that direction.
That's good to know. Because yes, I completely forgot to comment about the Church Street location. That was one that I had looked at. It's potential, especially if the other one might need to be parking, so.
Okay. Would you ever consider raised beds, like in the back of the Mark's parking lot at the back of that?
Honestly, yes, anywhere that would be village-owned property that would put us as being eligible for the grant funding, that
Sure.
would be wonderful. So then the grant funding could go towards building the boxes and whatever fencing we would need around or something. But yes, that would be a wonderful idea. Okay, so I guess my main question then is, am I allowed to continue to pursue funding as if a garden could potentially be happening on one of the village-owned spots?
I don't see why not. And Scott?
I don't see why not. I think that if we look for the funding, we could probably find a place within the village.
They're probably going to want some sort of a location resolution. When you get to that point, we'll have to have something. So, I mean, is there anybody who has a concern with it? Though, because I don't want you to start doing all the work and then you come to us for approval and we're like, well, wait, we didn't ask.
Does anyone have a concern?
I think I would feel more comfortable discussing it once you had a location in mind, I guess. I mean, on the surface, I don't have an issue with it at all, but.
Okay, so those are really the two locations then, I guess, is the Park Avenue, and if that's out of the question from the parking extension, then I am so sorry, then Church Street would be the only other location I can nail down, other than maybe the raised bed idea.
Right.
So maybe permission to seek funding as if there were a location in mind through the Department of Health, just because it's kind of a catch-22. We couldn't really pursue it unless I had permission, but I couldn't really get permission unless we know. So yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, we deal with that every single day. We know what you're talking about. So, so Mark, do you have any thoughts if she pursues the Church Street or, raised bed idea?
No, I don't have any concerns at all. I'm good with that.
Okay,
Thank you all.
so You have our support.
I will continue and keep everyone posted. Thank you.
Thank you for your work. Okay, we have a presentation by Todd Bensley and Jake Hebden regarding the Clinton Brown Boxwood Cemetery tag grant and the final report.
First of all, thank you for giving us time to speak. I'm Todd Bensley, Jake Hebden. Jake is the head of the Boxwood Cemetery Commission. I know you all know that, but people in the crowd might not. I am the vice president of the Friends of Boxwood Cemetery, also the village historian. So first of all, thank you for the support that you provide both for the Friends and for the Boxwood Cemetery Commission with all that we are trying to do there. We really appreciate your support, and you're okay to do a lot of the things that we do there. Just a quick update, because I know that the big fundraiser we've been doing is for the Pottersfield Memorial. At this point, checks have been put in the mail to both the supplier of the Medina sandstone as well as Brigden Memorial to put together the Pottersfield Memorial for the winter here. I am currently going through the list, just double checking, making sure we have the right names and dates and the spellings and all that. And I've got maybe like 5 more obituaries to find in the newspapers. And then we'll be able to kind of finalize the list so that Brigden can get it. And then over the winter time, be able to actually make the monument. And then we're hoping, depending on weather, maybe sometime May, June, actually, having it set in place and doing a dedication and all that. We've got a couple other steps along the way, like we have to do a GPR study, which is ground penetrating radar, to make sure that we don't dig up anybody that's buried there. So we need to put the foundation. So any questions about that real quick? All right, so we're very excited about that as our next major project. Before I get started, I just want to say something that you probably have heard me say before, if you've ever heard me talk anywhere, is that I really appreciate the way Medina pulls together, and it's not just the village board, but the community. You know, Megan's out there with their, community garden, and I volunteer at the visitor center every summer, and people come in and they've been to the towns around us, within a half hour, the canal towns and that. And they always ask, how does Medina do this? And I always say we pull together on things. So I do appreciate that, when organizations like us come to you, that you're willing to listen and work with us in whatever way we possibly can to do things. So that being said, I appreciate that you were willing to have, matching funds for the grant for the study of Boxwood Cemetery to see what needed to be done. It's something that we've been talking about for years on the commission and with the Friends of Boxwood, that, we have these ideas, but none of us are professionals. We're just kind of, throwing spitballs at it. So to have actual professionals come in and do a study of the hill portion of the old cemetery part that they focus on is much appreciated. So I believe in front of you, all of you have the report that identifies long, short, and immediate needs. I'm not going to go through it tonight. I will highlight a couple of things there, but you can see it's a very extensive study, and it's nicely color coded so that you can, see what the needs are. I don't maybe necessarily agree with all of the needs, in the sense that some things are more.
Was that emailed to us?
It was emailed to you, yes. Do you want? I've got extra copies.
I usually print out hard copies, and I'm like,
Yep.
I must not have printed out a hard
That's
copy.
okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anyone else need a copy?
I have it in my email.
I'm all set.
You're all set? All right, good.
Thank you.
Thank you. So anyways, you can see through there, there's a lot of pictures in that of what we're up against with the cemetery. This is the original part of the cemetery. So most of these walls, stairs, and that have been for, well over 100 years, 150 years at this point, 175. So time has not been kind to these places. I mean, they've stood the test of time, but it's time to start working on some of these. one of the things that we asked them to look at too was erosion problems that we have there. There is some information here about erosion and what they propose as, mitigation for that type of stuff. And I know that the RFP for taking care of the cemetery is going to be coming up here in the springtime. And I would just encourage you to make sure that when you're writing the RFP for that you pay attention to some of the things in here. In particular, the one thing I wanted to point out is that we need to probably rethink how the hill portion of the cemetery is taken care of. Because you can't access it with mowers, the only way that you can do it is with trimmers. And it's created damage over the years to do it that way. So one thing that I would propose is maybe only you have your RFP say, you're going to trim the hill 4 times a year as opposed to like every other week. So it's not going to be kept like our lawns are in our yards, but more as a rural cemetery look to it. That'll help to allow the grass to regrow there and to kind of hold things in place as well. We've done a little bit of work, the tree board, which Jake is also a part of. A couple of years ago, was able to secure some saplings. We put some saplings there because most of the trees there are 175 years old at least. And as you know, from some work that's been done in there, some of those have come down, with help or without help, naturally or man-made over the years. So that's part of it as well. So I would just, again, encourage you to look through this before you write the RFP so that you know what you're getting and the people who might be bidding on it would know exactly what is expected of them as well. Because it is a lot of man hours to take care of that hill if we're going to maintain it like our lawns and our yards. The last page of the packet here, there is a quote for repairing one of the walls there, so you can kind of see what we're up against as far as costs go for that. And obviously this will change because prices change, but it was $35,000, just over $35,000 to be able to repair the dual wall, which is one of the main ones up top. So a big concern with a lot of the walls is that the retaining walls that are holding up the ground of these big, huge family monuments. And we had one come down a couple of years ago, the E.F. Brown one, got hit by a tree limb, and Brigden was able to actually get up there and repair it. Luckily, insurance covered that one. I don't know if insurance is going to cover it if the wall just fails. So it is something that we need to address. And obviously, if somebody happened to be under it when it fell, I mean, that'd be really bad luck. But, it is something to think about when we're doing that. I'm not saying that that's going to be the main driver of it. But so one thing I think we need to do around Boxwood, I know that the budget is all tight with everything with the village and everything that's going on. And I can appreciate that, being a village board member in the past and all that, and being a taxpayer here, is that we have to kind of ask ourselves, put ourselves in the mindset of how can we do this, not if we can do this, because a lot of it does need to be done, and I mean, especially some of the more immediate needs. So that's where the Boxwood Commission and the Friends of Boxwood can also step in to help. Try to figure out how we can actually do this. So why is it important to upkeep it? Not just for safety, but people choose to buy lots in Boxwood based on what they see in Boxwood. And if they see all the old monuments coming down and the places not being taken care of, they're going to take their money elsewhere and they're going to get buried elsewhere. It's my understanding that we've had 26 grave sites sold this year, which is quite a few compared to what we have most years. And I think a lot of that is attributable to the fact that we do maintain the cemetery. We do try to do things, whether it's the Friends of Boxwood, whether it's Dale Short. If you don't know, he goes way above and beyond his contract every year and is resetting headstones that are not in his contract and all that. And so there's a lot that does go on there. And that's, part of the reason. I also believe that all the events that we're holding there, the media coverage that we get for those events makes people think that this is a good, vibrant place to go. And I mean, you know, we're all going to eventually end up probably in a cemetery somewhere unless our ashes are scattered. And we want to know that our final resting place is going to be taken care of. So people will continue to buy into Boxwood Cemetery as long as we continue to maintain it to the best of our ability. I mean, there's 5,000 burials there. That doesn't mean there's 5,000 headstones, but you know, as I tell Shorty when we had said resetting headstones in the summer, at the end of the day, you just have to know that you've done something, because there's no way we're going to take care of all of it forever. It's eventually, you know, even the ones that we take care of 50 years from now are going to be starting to tumble again. So it's just kind of a never-ending process with that. So to that end, how can we do it? On pages 5 and 6 of the report, Clinton Brown did identify some potential sources of funding as far as the grants go. So that's certainly a possibility. I don't know how much we have in the property maintenance fund with the cemetery, but that is something that the money that is put aside. I know our perpetual care fund's a whole other issue that we're not even going to bother getting into, because that's a big frustration for all of us. But the property maintenance fund is something that was created as an alternative to perpetual care so that we could actually access the money for that. So I'm not saying we're going to take, I don't even know how much money's in there, not going to take all the money necessarily to do the new one, but between grants and some of the property maintenance fund, it might be possible to be able to do this first one and get an idea. And they would certainly, whoever the contractor would certainly be working alongside with Jason. And that might then bring us information that once Jason and his guys can see how things are done, maybe we don't need to go out and hire it be done. If we have enough hours to be able to do it, we might be able to use some of our own guys to fix the next wall if, you know, if we get one done. But we have to have one done professionally, because we just don't know exactly what the best approach is to that. And then speaking of grants, I know you have a grant writer. I mentioned it earlier. I did write the grant for the survey of the assessment report for the cemetery. I'm more than happy to continue to look for grants and write grants, but I don't want to step on the toes of your grant writer. I don't know what the grant writer, I don't know if the grant writer actively is out there looking for grants, or if you guys just bring grants to this person and say, hey, can you look into this further? I don't know how the grant writing process works. I wasn't on the board when we had a grant writer. So, I mean, like I said, I'm more than happy to go out and continue to look for them, more than happy to write them to the best of my ability as well. But I guess before I go and spend all that time doing that, I just want to know if that's an avenue that you want to take. I mean, I know that some of the grants are going to have potentially matching funds as well, but that might also be something that the property maintenance money could come into play instead of, you know, having to budget it. But if you can budget it, I know budgets are tight, that would be even better, but I know that that's probably not a realistic possibility at this point. So one other thing is the way the report is laid out, I think it is conducive to a 1, 5, and 10-year plan for what we can do in the cemetery. So the Boxwood Commission, or at least some members of that, and the Friends of Boxwood, would love to sit down with the board, or whoever on the board is interested, and kind of maybe put together that 1 and 5 and 10-year plan so that we have an idea. Because once we have a plan, I mean, if we have this report from Clinton Brown and we have a 1, 5, and 10-year plan for the cemetery, that's going to make our job a lot easier when we're looking for grants, because, you know, people write grants and have no real idea how things are going to actually play out. So if we can send the people who are offering the grants this packet and a 1, 5, and 10-year plan of what we're trying to do, they're more likely to buy into, you know, that and be able to provide us with, you know, grant funding. So there is grant funding out there. It's just a matter of, you know, how aggressive are we going to be at going after it? Where are we going to find the matching funds for it? And again, the property maintenance fund might be a good option for that. So any questions questions, comments, anything?
So you will not step on the toes of our grant writer. We meet regularly with him and he brings things to us,
Okay,
but he also asks us, what do you need?
okay,
And he comes to Medina, we've driven around Medina, and we reach out to him too. And then he'll find things for us. So it works both ways.
all right,
And if you write something, I mean, our police chief and lieutenant wrote the technology grant that we just
Yeah.
were acting on now. So you're not going to hurt anyone's feelings
All right.
because a grant is a grant. The only thing I can say that is if a grant does require matched funds, you should have board approval first
Oh, yes,
to go ahead
definitely.
and apply for it.
Yes,
Because then we need to know where those funds are going to come from
Right.
if you get that.
yes, yeah, that would, I know that would be a definite. We did that with the other grant for this, report was, we made sure we came ahead of time to get approval for that. I understand that that's definitely the protocol, so.
So we will send this on to the grant writer too.
Okay.
And
great.
actually, we just had a conversation about our waterfront development program that has not been accepted by the state yet. And, because we had a grant to complete that. And he needs a copy of that also. So he keeps these on file so that he can utilize them.
Yeah, and I mean, the 1, 5, and 10-year plan shouldn't just focus necessarily on the hillside in this report, but the cemetery as a whole. I know the commission has been working on the idea of green burials as well, so that would be something to discuss with that, which is a more environmentally friendly burial, which Jake, you want to mention about?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if, Deb, did you have a chance? There was a meeting a few months ago to bring up green burial.
Yes,
And
yes, it was brought up.
I couldn't make it, but
Deb did a great job.
I did try to email some information to you all. I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at it. But we kicked around the idea of green burial. I think it's a misunderstood new name for it, but really what it is the most basic, fundamental, done since the beginning of man is to dig a grave. There's no embalming or anything. You place the person in, and it's natural back to the earth. I have spoken to some larger cemeteries that have had some success with it as an option, just so there's not just two options that you have to do. It both saves the family money on top of it all, which is nice to be able to offer. But in Orleans County and in the surrounding areas, there really is no option for a green burial. So it'd be kind of neat if we could consider it. But we've and I took Jason out to the cemetery one day, and we were kind of ballparking ideas on if this is possible or not. On the very north edge of the cemetery that's undeveloped, could we potentially start a section in there that's meant for that? So yeah, I didn't know if I just want to make you aware of that we're talking about that on the commission as a possibility, and we'll obviously come to you for approval on that all. So,
Is there places in New York that actually have that?
there are, yeah. Rochester, the bigger cities and surrounding, there's a major one down in, downstate, I believe it's Ithaca. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, was kind of the well-known one for many years. And in the funeral business, we do have, I have people call the funeral home and inquire about where they can do this, and there's really no place to do it. And you don't want to bury mom down in Ithaca because one day you drive to Ithaca. So it would be wonderful to be able to tell families, yes, you can do that at Boxwood. I've looked at the state regulations. There's little surrounding it. Believe it or not, it's
Is there environmental?
well, it's the big I guess, benefit of it is environmental. There's no chemicals involved. It's very natural, back to the earth. There's no, the biggie is the concrete burial vault that the casket usually goes in and it protects it. There's none of that. You can either use a biodegradable container, even just a shroud, and they bring the person there and place them in, or a natural wooden casket, just like the old days. And I like to say that green burial, it sounds like this new, interesting idea, but we're talking about the old cemetery. Those are literally all green burials up on the hill. So, yeah, any questions on that? I can certainly forward some more information. I do have some meetings lined up up in Rochester with Whitehaven Cemetery, large cemetery up there that is actually expanding their green burial section because they found it very popular. They price the graves the same as any other grave. The footprint of the graves themselves, opposed to say an 8 foot by 4 foot, they recommend a larger footprint, more like say a 5 by 12, just so that if you bury another person next to that, you're less liable to run into issues. The Green Burial Council is kind of the national organization, not-for-profit, that sets the standards for the green burial around the nation. You can get certified by them. There's a fee. It's kind of like the Better Business Bureau almost. You don't have to do that. They list everything online, and I've looked into that. There's a lot of standards, the depths recommended, and things like that. Be glad to give you more information along the way.
Does anyone have?
Yeah. The only question I had was the quote. Is that depicted in one of these?
Yes, yes, thank you for pointing out that, I forgot. Page 18. So on page 18, it's retaining wall 8. For some reason, the upper left hand corner, 16 is the numbering for all the things that they did, and retaining wall 8 is the one that they're actually looking to do the work.
And there's a corresponding topographic map that refers to each on page 40. It would be. It's not marked 40. It's after 39.
Thanks.
So yeah.
So again,
Thank you both.
yes, thank you. And again, we would love to sit down. I know, not obviously in this month because everyone's crazy with the holidays. I know before too long after the new year, you get into your budget season and all that, but if there's a time that we could meet sometime in January to sit down with whoever amongst us is the interested parties to just kind of kick around some ideas about a plan, that would be wonderful. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll reach out to you maybe after the first of the year and just see if there's a potential date that we can have the 3 groups get together in some fashion to kind of talk this all over.
That would be great. And whenever you have, like I know Deb and I are included in the Boxwood meetings, the commission, and I know they're listed on the website, but if you would think just to shoot the board an email, because I think it's really good to sit in on those meetings to see how things play out and to be aware of the things that you're working on and be supportive, because we really appreciate all you're doing. Thank you.
And it goes straight back. The commission, you've got some great, vibrant people on the commission. I'm friends with Boxwood, and even Deb, you've been wonderful. And Mayor, you've been adding to this all. You've got a great group of volunteers.
I remember when we first sat down and I was sitting in on the meetings and we're like, so do trees help this or do they hinder this? And we're like,
yeah.
Someone has to tell us
The
that.
chicken or the egg
Right.
came first,
Yeah.
and nobody knew what to
Yeah.
do.
And so
we've done that for
finally,
years.
we've
Yeah.
got-
Here we are.
Yeah, very good. But does anyone have any other questions?
You guys just shoot me one more copy of that.
Yep.
electronic?
Yeah, I mean, email's
Oh,
gonna
you
be
want
easier
another
for me.
electronic copy? Yes. Yep, I'll get that to you.
That would be, if you, we have it, because I'll forward that to our grant
Right.
writer also.
Okay,
So.
yeah. You want me to send it to everybody again, or?
I know, she's got it.
That would get so many
I
emails.
think-
Like,
Right,
All right,
okay.
yep,
Thanks.
very good. Thank you
Thank you,
again for all
guys.
you do. I know you guys got a lot more to go. We can walk out, so I do appreciate everything that you guys do. I know
Thank
the
you.
effort that you put in, not just here, but in the background as well, that people don't necessarily see. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, we put ad valorem charges for town of Ridgeway and town of Shelby. The boards had discussions in the past about contractual items for the water service that were never collected by previous administrations. And we have been sending bills to try to collect these fees, and they have not been paid. At our the last time we spoke about it, I had mentioned to the board that I would reach out to both supervisors to inquire as to their intentions regarding these bills. And the town of Ridgeway supervisor has said that he will not pay them. And the town of Shelby supervisor said that he's turned it over to his attorney and has not heard back from the attorney regarding this yet. So he said they're not saying no, they just want some additional attorney input on these charges. So it's on the agenda again tonight because I do not want to lose sight of this, and I would like to know how the board would like to proceed with these. Our options are to obviously give it up, or we can add late fees for unpaid bills, like we do for other people in the village when they don't pay their water bills. And, we can just wait and see what happens with Shelby to proceed with both entities from there.
Did Matt weigh in?
He has in the past. He said that we should be charging them, but he has not weighed in on this yet.
Yeah, I mean, if we can legally charge a late fee, I think we ought to. I mean, this is the people who voted us in, they expected us to represent their financial interests. And the people who voted them in, some of which were me, have expected them to represent the interests of folks in the town, which are all of us as well. And should they be deciding not to pay a bill, they're putting that on half of their own residents. I feel terrible about charging a fee that's going to come out of somebody else's budget, but this is a very concentrated group of people who are paying for a service that another group of people that is completely exclusive of the concentrated group of people are paying. They're receiving a service that we're paying for. So of course, if we can legally put on a late fee, I would absolutely support that.
Any indication of why they're not paying? I guess I'm confused. The contract says they owe it. I understand, I guess.
The town of Shelby has the attorney looking into the contracts to make sure that they're legitimate, I guess. And the town of Ridgeway considers it's part of a shared service for things that Ridgeway gives to the village that they don't charge us for.
That they legally cannot charge us for.
Right. So that's the reasoning.
Did they elaborate on what shared service that was?
Yes, but I have to look back. I have to look back at my notes because I just want to make sure I cover everything. Okay, so am I hearing we'll just reach out to the village attorney to see if we can legally put a late fee on, and then we'll discuss it at the next meeting?
I say that we put the late fee on it, and then if we're told that we have to take it off, we would take it off. But as far as I'm concerned, I think a bill is a bill. You know, there's been unread meters, undocumented water that's gone to different places in both towns. I think it's our right to impose a late fee and to collect it. And if they don't wanna be considered of paying their bills, I think we treat them like we treat any other customer.
What would the late fee be? What are you proposing for a late fee? 10%? I don't know. I mean, the contract doesn't allow for that, does it?
That's round stock.
So what, Jada, for regular water customers, water usage customers, what do we charge for a late fee?
It's 10%.
So,
Let's wait and talk to Matt.
Scott, will you be comfortable waiting to talk to Matt?
Sure.
Mark?
Sure.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the discussion of the ladder truck and fire edition. The ladder truck will be here in January. We have 2 firefighters looking at it right now. There are, as of late this afternoon, there were a few things that needed to be tweaked on it. They're going over it from top to bottom to make sure it meets specifications. But, you know, it's basically, it's together. They're going to be testing out the ladder tomorrow. So it will be here in January. I've been working, as the board knows, with a local businessman to lease a space to house the truck until we can get an addition built. I did reach out to a structural engineer from the Glenn Group to come out and give a professional opinion of the ability to modify our existing building to fit the new truck. Because I am looking through all the records, it was all hearsay. Oh, we can't modify this building to fit this bigger truck. So he did. I forwarded that opinion onto the board that we cannot modify. It wouldn't make sense to try to even think about modifying the existing building. And he and Jason worked on it, working on the pitch to dig down, to raise the roof. They've looked at everything. So we really need to move forward with this addition for the truck. So we have 2 things to look at right now. We have to house the truck when it gets here. We're looking, the businessman has agreed to 3 months for sure, because there is going to be a business eventually going into the place. And he would like 90 cents per square foot, which will equate to approximately $4,500 a month to house the truck. It will have its own key to the building, and it's a little bit bigger than what we need, but we do have some other vehicles that could go in there for the time being. And it's heated and has electricity, and he expects us to pay for our own heat and electricity for that building. So we need to make a decision on this moving forward. I believe that those funds will have to come out of the contingency fund to house the truck. And then we need to move forward with the addition. I've mentioned to the board in the past that it is looking promising that we're still in the running for a CDBG grant of up to $1 million toward the addition for our building. And our grant writer is working on this along with the powers that be from the CDBG grant. And we do need an updated cost analysis of the building because it's Buy American, Build American, that we should get this grant. So in order to do that, I reached back out to the original engineering firm because the concept plan was not based on that. And they They're working with another local contractor and they gave us a fee of $4,600 to update the concept plan, which would be a more accurate estimate for the building. If we have to buy American, build American. And then from there, once we get the additional, get the new cost, projected cost of the building, we need to go back to bond council. We went to a previous board, went to bond council, and we were approved for $4.5 million, I believe, right, Jada? For an addition that we have since changed. So that has been dismissed because we knew that we did not want to put that on the backs of taxpayers. So now with the new single bay addition, we need to go back to bond council and we have to prove to the CDBG grant writers that we could get funding for the entire cost of the project before they will consider awarding us the grant. So we need to go back to bond council too, which is going to be $25,000 to go back to bond council to get approval. And then the process is lengthy. We have to go through all the legal steps again, publishing the amount, permissive referendum, and publishing in a staff notice. So I'm looking for a couple things from the board tonight. Number one is a resolution to approve the lease agreement with to house the truck, and this is the old Snappy building next to the lift bridge.
Have we tested any, have we had a fire truck? Have we had a fire truck over there to see if that it fits in there and we make that swing?
We've had firefighters over there looking at it, so we have not actually tried the truck. That's a good point, Scott. We probably should try, make sure that it can make the swing into the building, but it can go in the back of the building or through the front of the building.
With him being the landlord, did he indicate whether we would be responsible for the snow removal or us?
We did not discuss that.
Is there any indication, did Dan go over there and see if there was shared metering or anything in there? Does it have a separate address for, like, for our liability, our insurance liability? Are we just liable for that building and what's in it and the metering and the heat in it, or is it attached to one meter for the entire property?
No, it has a separate meter for the heat and the electric, and he would like that put in the village's name, and then we would just receive the bills for it. And what was your other question? Oh, the snow removal, we have not discussed that. I did discuss if we had to go in the back. The Chief Cooley thought that we might have to put some stone down to make the swing, possibly coming in through the back, and he said that that wouldn't be a problem. And he has $1 million of insurance on that property. Jada did check with our insurance company to see if we could, if there would be a problem with us leasing a building to put our equipment inside of, and there wasn't going to be, a problem adding that to our insurance policy.
Is he a landlord or is he a businessman? Or is he like used for renting? Like, I just don't know what our liability is with having a piece of equipment that cost us that much money in there. Say the furnace went, Jason's going, is he a landlord that's gonna be, supplying our needs of getting heat in there and making sure that everything?
Well, he's a landlord who just put a new roof on, expecting our new truck to come in there, and he was going to do it in the spring, later on in the spring, and he moved that project up. And he wanted to paint the building to make it look better before we started leasing it, but he ran out of time. So he asked if we had a problem with it not being repainted. If you'd like to meet with him, I'll set up a meeting.
I'm all right with it. I just didn't, I didn't know who the gentleman was.
It sure is.
I have a couple, I have a couple comments. First of all, I received the engineering report, which was a surprise to me. I didn't realize you were doing that. Was there a fee involved with that, or is he doing this pro bono for you, or?
He did it for us.
Wonderful.
He cares about our village. He personally lives in Lindenville
Mhm.
and he cares. And he said, I will come out. Now, if he thought that there was something that could be done and he had to draw specifics, a proposal for the village, then that would have cost us money.
Okay, I was hoping that was the case, since that was the first I'd heard of it. So I have another option that I would like to present to the board, and that would be that, when the truck does in fact arrive here, that we, put a for sale sign on it and sell it. We cannot afford it. We cannot afford a place to put it. We cannot afford to outfit it. Nobody's even talked about outfitting it. I hate having this discussion without the fire chief here, but it's on the agenda and we're talking about it. So, but nothing's been budgeted for outfitting it. I mean, I'm hearing it could be another 200,000 or 300,000 on top of it. We're talking about building a building that's going to cost almost as much as the truck going in it. I mean, none of this makes any sense to me at all. It has not from day one. And, I know you've done a lot of work pushing this thing. And if no one else on the board agrees with me, then it's going to go through, and I feel bad for the taxpayers, because it's going to be another $1,000 on top, without anything else that we potentially will be looking at for this next budget. And I, for one, will not want to be a part of that. That is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. We're buying a ladder truck that spends most of its time outside of this village. And you can show me statistics and numbers any which way you want to, but that's the reality of it is that this whole district, this little western district, would love for us to have this ladder truck, because they're going to get all the use out of it, and the Village of Medina taxpayers are stuck with the bill. And we have to be done paying. We have to be done paying. There has to be another way to do business. And I've said this from the beginning, and I don't like it. The towns are not willing to cooperate in any way, shape, or form. It feels like, I don't know, the conversations come to a dead end, or they get blocked, or I feel like there's going to have to be some hardball played in order for somebody to do something, because otherwise we're stuck here. And I don't know. I feel like I'm sitting here all by myself talking, but I don't think I am. But I would like to, I'm proposing that we sell the truck as soon as it gets here, and we pay off that USDA loan and be done with it. Be done with it. It was poorly thought out from the very beginning, and there's nothing you can do to make it right. Nothing's going to fix it.
Where did you get that it's going to be $200,000 to outfit it? I have not heard that.
Well, let's
Who told
find
you
out.
that?
Let's find out.
Well, where did you get that information? To
I'm
say
not
that
sure exactly
in a
where I got
public
it.
meeting?
I don't know. I mean, what difference does it make? How much is it?
Well,
you don't,
throwing out a number to outfit it.
yeah,
that
you
is-
don't have one to counter, so what difference
I
does it
don't,
make?
because
That's why
I've
I
never
said,
heard of anything that
Oh.
it's going to
well,
cost
we need to
additional
talk to the
funding to
fire chief about it.
outfit it.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's why it would have been nice if he was here for the discussion, but
well, you let everyone know he wasn't going to be here.
yeah.
Jess?
I'm sorry, what was the
I'm
question?
just-
Should
I'm
we,
just-
we're talking the lease?
Yeah,
It's really hard to vote on what. I mean, obviously it's gotta go somewhere. I appreciate that, this individual has made an effort to prepare the building for us. It'd be good to see the contract before we vote on it to know what the stipulations were, answer some of Scott's questions. So it's just weird to vote on. I mean, it sounds like it's gonna be fine, but it would be great to see the contract in front of us so we know what the conditions are that we're voting on.
Right. So here, we're going to have to be prepared to have another meeting because if we have to go ahead, we will draw up the contract. I was going to have our attorney look at it, but, we have to have a place for this truck when it comes.
We have
And
we
it's
have a
coming.
compost building. We have a compost building that's huge. It could fit 3 fire trucks in
So
there.
are you proposing that we put a $1.7 million ladder truck in a compost building?
Well, it's basically the same building you're looking to put it in over there by Snappy.
This is
That's a pole barn with nothing. It doesn't even have any heat in it, does
it
it?
has heat and electricity. And it's locked and it will only be accessible by village employees. So this businessman is going to be going out of town in the month of January. He wanted to wrap this up by the end of December. If I can get a contract written up, is the board prepared to have a special meeting to vote on a contract? And I'll have our attorney look at it before the end of the month. We'll call a special meeting to vote. Scott?
Yeah, I'll take a look at the contract, but I really, for the 12, 13.5 that we're gonna pay, I mean, maybe we should look at the compost facility because if our building isn't done in 3 months, there would at least be we put the money into our own building, at least it would be well money spent and something that we own. I mean, putting a heater in there and, securing it. We have a police department that stays in the area. I live right next door to it and my buildings don't get broken into or damaged. I think we could probably outfit it for what we're gonna pay for, rent for a building that we're not gonna own. I just think it's money that we would be spending with no return. Nothing, no return on that investment for us. If we did, at least we'd have heated our compost. If Jason wanted to do work over there later on equipment or I think that we could, streamline that and look into that rather quick. I'm sure Jason would meet over there and see if there was an alternate solution to renting. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah,
Not to put
I
you
mean,
on the
that building's
spot.
wide open, so I mean, the possibilities are endless there, actually.
I know there's been sandblasting done there in the past and we store
Right.
expensive equipment over
It's-
there, maybe not 1.7 million, but.
It's
I've
not the
never heard of it
cleanest
getting-
right now, but it's not like it can't be clean.
Mhm.
So Jason, what would it need in order to be prepared for a ladder truck?
Like Scott said, if you were gonna put that money into a lease, I don't think it would take much to build a dividing wall in there to keep it at 40 degrees. There's no gas there at this point, but there's nothing saying that you couldn't put a gas service in or drop a temporary propane tank or something to run a shop heater in there to keep the building warm enough for the truck. Being it's going to be temporary, I don't think I would put the money into it to insulate it, but because that's gonna be a really added extra cost. Put the dividing wall in there to heat a smaller space than the whole building. Maybe a better option. Something to look into for sure. Than to give, like Scott said, give the money to somebody else, or we can put it in our own building. Potentially.
Good idea.
So
Because
Jason,
either location isn't gonna be convenient for the department.
Right.
So.
Okay, so Jason, would you be willing to work with Scott on, looking at the building to see what it needs and to, cost it out? In order to house the truck?
Absolutely.
Scott, you're good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Is the rest of the board good with that? Mark?
Yeah, I'm better with, at our own. I don't feel that we should be spending taxpayers' money to rent another place when we got our own places to look at. I'd rather have our expensive piece of equipment on our property than somebody else's property. That's my opinion.
And I heard you, Jess, say it was good?
Yeah.
And Deb, you're good with that?
It's fine.
Okay, so, so Jason and Scott, hopefully you can do this and get on this soon. And, would we be doing the work, Jason, or would we hire the work done?
I think we could probably potentially do most of it.
Okay.
If it's just building a wall and sheeting it.
I definitely would like to be on that too.
And Mark,
I'd
okay,
like to be on that. I'm available, whenever, Jason, I think just give me a shout.
so when you, cost it out for materials and, then we'll see what we've got in the budget. We'll probably have to have board approval, I would assume, Jada, to spend money on materials to upgrade the compost facility, and the heat will be safe. I mean, the heating method will be safe.
Yeah.
Figure out, okay.
Not to put you on the spot, Jason, but I'll put you on the spot. If that is not done, that, is there a spot at the DPW that truck would be backed into that's heated?
Yes. Not to speak for the fire chief, but my thought would be by the time they take delivery of that truck and do all the training, get all the equipment mounted onto it, that you may not have to worry about having heated storage for it, because it'll be early spring. By the time they were able to actually put that truck in service full water. So we'll just keep that in the back of our mind, that we may not have to think about heating if they're not, if it's not in service and there's no water. But yes,
Yeah.
in dire straits, I have.
And, if it doesn't need heat, you still have a spot indoor secured for that on our property.
Yeah, because then we wouldn't have to do anything at all at the
Right.
compost, back in the door and there you go.
Okay. I'm talking over at, the East Center facility,
Yeah, East
East
Ave.
Ave.
Yes, also, yes,
Okay.
but I would just have to move some
Equipment.
trucks around to put it, the compost, if they wanted it closer to the station. Centralized in town, rather than on the other side of the canal.
But would it be, would that workshop still have to be used for certain activities at the DPW?
If it did have to be heated, no, because I would just use one of the end bays in the big barn, the unheated barn. I just move a couple dump trucks over to, that we don't use every day, move those over to the compost, and then I could put that layer truck in the big barn.
And where would the sewer truck go?
The sewer truck, if it doesn't have to be heated, can stay right in the same bay. The sewer truck can go in the mechanic's shop. I'm not sure if the new ladder truck will fit in the mechanic's shop lengthwise.
When we take if the fit out for the truck, is it just gonna be off village property for a majority of the time? So, like, Jason's saying, you know, might not even be back being fitted out until, you know, the heat's off, let's say spring. So I too would hate to rent a building that, you know, it's in Churchville getting fitted out and we don't even have use for it, so.
Jason, are you thinking it won't be here until spring? I think it's going to be here, but
I think it'll be here, but it'll probably be at Churchville getting outfitted for a good, I don't want to speak for them, but a good month. But then they have training,
that it
all
has to
sorts
be
of training
here
to do on it.
from here though. Correct?
Yes,
Right. Okay.
yeah, the sales, the dealership will come out and do all the training and the manufacturer will come out. and do
That's
all
what he
the
told
training
me.
For them. So I don't know what the chief's projection of time that is before they actually put the truck in service and actually have to have water on it and be heated storage.
Okay, so we'll work on that. Is the board prepared to look for an additional cost analysis for the Buy American, Build American?
Yes, I will make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Marciano to hire the contractor through MRB to give an additional cost analysis in the amount of $4,600. Is there a second? Okay, so the motion dies. So I just want to ask the board. So we're just going to, Deb wants to sell the truck. I haven't heard anyone else say that, but we're just going to let the truck sit either in the compost facility or the DPW building when we get it and not move forward with an addition.
Yeah, I think I understand. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think I understand Deb's non-second because she opposed the grant to begin with. But for the folks who wanted to pursue the grant and made the motion to pursue the grant, are we looking to now cease pursuing that grant if this is the next step, or is it I'm assuming it's the money that's the concern?
For me, it's definitely the money, you know, they're gonna pay the 4,600, you know, to see what it's gonna, you know, even get an estimate and, you know, to write this bond for, you know, $20,000 to $25,000. If we keep the truck, it's just two big lifts. I mean, you know, if we didn't get a grant for that building, I don't know how we would afford to build it. I just, you know, to me.
The prospects are good that we're going to get this sort of grant. But you said if we keep the truck, are you proposing that we not keep the truck?
Well, Debbie brought up a point, and I don't know how everyone else felt about it, so I was just saying if, you know, not saying one way or the other for myself. You know, it's the building, I'm just not sure about it. $1.3 million for a one-bay garage. To me, seems like a lot of money. And then if we didn't, you know, are we gonna spend that 20 to 25,000? You know, how good is that bond good for? Like, if we don't get the grant, I mean, I wouldn't be willing to spend $1.3 million for a one-bay garage. Or, you know, one-bay garage. I don't know what the answer is. I too have had a lot of sleepless nights over this. This was, you know, a lot of this came onto the board and to me to make decisions on. And, you know, I hear what's feasible, you know, from taxpayers. I hear, you know, like, well, we really do need it. I mean, there's not an answer that's going to make everybody happy here. And I'm just trying to think through it. And, you know, as I walk around and see other things where we can be spending money and, you know, the decision to buy the truck was done before I got here. The building, for some reason, you know, there really haven't been any decisions. Me, myself, I would never spend $1.3 million on what we're getting, or, you know, remotely even close to that. So I don't know how that works and why that cost would be so high. And, you know, I've looked at it, I looked at the prints, I looked at the proposal. I don't understand it. Buildings shouldn't cost that much. Buildings don't cost that much. I own buildings like that don't cost that much. So I'm just struggling with the whole process of it, me personally. I know what Debbie's saying, that, you know, the cost associated with the truck and the building, it's millions. It's $4 million for one truck. Buy a truck and house it is $4 million. And like she had pointed out, nobody's willing to help us. We're not getting any help. Fire protection, what we pay for that, it's you know, it's a large chunk of our budget. So we want to get the most that we can for our money. And I know that we're all looking at it and we keep looking at it. I just, every time I look at it, there's just money associated. I don't know what the fit out cost is. I don't really know. Maybe it was figured in that, you know, the initial money. I'm not really sure. You know, and then we're looking at $4,500 a month for rent. Now we're gonna, you know, convert a building. You know, there's me. I never budgeted, and my personally didn't look at it when we were doing the budget all the dollar amounts. And, you know, I'm not sure if we want to spend the $4,600 just to get a quote, and spend another 20 to 25, and then to say the taxpayers can't really afford the 1.4 million because we didn't get a grant. So if we knew that we could get a grant, we might think differently of it and talk through ways we could do it, but I don't know. To me, it just looks like another 30,000 going down to buy something that we don't really.
I completely hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
But that is the process,
I get it.
unfortunately. So, and just so everyone is aware, you know, this is a process. So if and when, or if the board decides to move forward, we're looking at, you know, by the time all is said and done, if everything aligned like we would hope it would align, we're looking at another 8 months before we have a building at least, if we got the process moving. But now without action tonight, we're looking at an even longer period of time when we have a ladder truck sitting here. And we'll have to do the best we can if the board won't agree on something.
This building was, you know, proposed well before that I was on board.
It was, but you have it now. You have it in your lap.
I get it.
And next on the agenda, discussion on the acquisition of the 2007 Rosenberger rescue engine from Murray Fire District. This is the engine that we had to borrow when our engine went in the shop and we didn't have anything to fight fires with in our village. Chief Cooley reached out to the board a month ago regarding this potential acquisition. I believe he has spoken to everyone individually about this. He would like a resolution to purchase the 2007 Rosenbauer rescue engine that includes a hydraulic rescue tool in the amount of $32,000. This money would come out of the equipment line of the budget. And Chief Cooley did say in communication with the board that due to guidelines that the Murray Joint Fire District has to follow, if approved at this board meeting, we won't take possession of the truck until January 29th. Once it's approved by the commissioners of the Murray joint fire district at their next meeting on December 30th. That has a 30-day period because of permissive referendum for surplus equipment.
I make the motion.
Okay, there's a motion by trustee
And I'll
Belisky
second.
and a second by Marciano. Is there any more discussion?
Yeah, there is. I wasn't quite clear about how we were gonna pay for this. It's not budgeted. The equipment budget that I think he's proposing, was technically for an ambulance and, so I don't know. I just had a few more questions on it and, I don't know if the board's ready to vote on it. I guess it's fine, but I'm not gonna be voting on it. I think the idea is fine and the price seems fine, but I would like some more information on the engine that we are running now. I mean, I understand it's available, for Murray to buy, but, I also discussed this with the people from Murray, at a meeting I was at, and it was my understanding that they were perfectly okay with us borrowing it on an as-need basis until our new budget came out in June. The, it was an informal conversation, but that's the conversation that I had. So I didn't realize that this was going to be something that was going to be put on the agenda for voting until I got the email from Julian. I was out of town, so I am not yet a chance to talk to him, but so I don't know why we can't hold off. I don't know what the rush is, I guess.
So you didn't speak individually with him about this truck?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So, well, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
What's the hurry on the truck? Is it? I don't know what the hurry is. Why can't we wait till, budget time? To see where we're at.
Because they're looking to get rid of the truck right now.
Right now, it'd be a delay anyway, because they're doing, potentially moving, in positions in there. My understanding, there's a lot of, people that are on that board that are not even aware that Medina's even interested in buying that.
Yeah, it hasn't been declared surplus yet.
Right, so I don't know where we're at with that. So even if we vote on it, just, we don't even know if they're even gonna sell it to us. I heard that right from one of the, members of the Hubbardton, which they merged, and I guess he wasn't even aware of it, that we were even interested in buying it. Not that he had a problem with us buying it, but I don't know what the hurry is, if he can't even, they don't even know, they haven't even declared surplus yet. And we're putting a motion to spend money that we didn't even budget, when we don't have to do that right now. We can wait till budget to, I'm not comfortable doing that until, budget time. When I don't feel that there's a hurry, and they already stated that if we ever needed to use it, we could use it.
Okay, so is that a no for you, Mark? That's a no for you, Jess? Or Deb?
At this time, yes, with the information that I have, yeah.
That's the information that I got, which was on Thursday. I received a call for information about that truck.
So if we have a motion, we have a second. We have 2 no's on the stipulation that Murray votes to move forward with the sale of the truck. So, and I vote yes to acquire it if we have the opportunity.
Just to clarify, that's gonna be paid out of the equipment
Yes.
savings.
Yes.
Now, are we gonna pay back the equipment savings on the surplus on the old one, was my understanding? Okay.
I don't know, you might want to clarify that because I don't understand what you said.
Well, when I talked to Steve, our understanding is that we had it in our equipment budget for the 32,000 value of it. He showed me some various, values and, and what we have and we're gonna replace, so we are gonna sell the engine that it's replacing.
We're selling the engine that it's replacing.
He didn't tell me that.
No, I didn't know that either.
He
did say
basically told me just the opposite.
I don't
That
think that's on the
he
surplus.
wasn't gonna sell the other one, he was gonna keep that also. Cause I specifically asked him that, what are you gonna do with the other, that he would have that as, the other one as a backup also, so he'd be running two engines.
Yeah, he also had told me what he told Scott.
And I heard the same
Did
thing.
you? Well, he told me different.
Okay.
I didn't hear that either.
Okay, I heard the same thing because but it's not declared surplus yet, but we will declare it surplus if we acquire this engine.
Because then it will be.
So
So it's
then it
not
will
on
be.
the auction right now?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
That's what I was missing.
Okay, why are we putting the cart before the horse again?
Are we?
Yeah, you're offering the surplus of a vehicle to pay for another vehicle.
Well, it wouldn't be surplus until we had the other.
We already have one on the auction.
The ladder truck is on the auction.
Yeah.
Are those on, Jason? Are they on?
No.
No.
Auctions International, I have not heard anything from them. I don't know what's going on with them.
Okay.
As far as listing our surplus equipment at this point, I'm about ready to call them and tell them, forget about it, I'll just contact somebody else. Shoot, we've been over a month now, I think, and they haven't even listed, haven't even reached out to me since they came and took all the pictures. I don't know.
Yeah, that's been a couple.
Yeah, I think I have the name of another company that I got from
Well, I
a
used-
Nikon conference.
I used, Gov Deals before, if there's another, RTI auction, there's numerous ones that I have contacts for, so. I guess what I'll have to do is reach out to Auctions International. Say, just ask them, when does he expect to get our stuff up? If not, in the near future, then I'll just move on to somebody else. We're not on anything. Doesn't cost us anything anyways, no matter who we use, but regardless, we'd like to get the stuff sold.
Right about that. Okay, next on the agenda, the HRA discussion and resolution. Jada reached out to the board regarding the HRA program we have for our employees. She is looking for a resolution to utilize an HRA program that Highmark offers for better service and no charge to the village. Jada, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that covers it.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion, we adopt the Highmark for the HRA.
Look at that.
Okay, motion by Paderewski, a second by Prowl. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Jada also reached out to the board regarding a need for a new computer in the office so that we can separate the vital records data from other business being done. She would like a resolution to purchase a new computer in the amount of $1,435 with funds coming out of the water and sewer budget.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Paderewski, a second by Marciano. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. We are going to table the furnace replacement because Jason hasn't had enough time to get another quote, correct?
I've reached out, I haven't received any back,
Okay,
just waiting.
okay. But the furnace is still working with the repair right now? We received a request to remove a late fee from a water bill. It's a resident at Lakewood Village who are seniors, both disabled, living on a fixed low income. The water bill payment was never received, even though it was paid on time. The customer took a picture of the postmarked envelope while at the post office when she mailed it. The village still has not received this payment. We have assessed a late fee of over $27 on the bill. The woman did come in and write a new check for the bill when she received the new bill with the late fee. And she's requesting that the late fee be removed as they cannot afford it and honestly did their part in attempting to get it to us on time. Someplace between the postal clerk's hands and your office, it went missing. Going forward, they're going to be bringing their payment directly to the office, so this will never happen again. How does the board want to proceed?
It's not our policy to forgive late fees.
Even with proof that it was postmarked before.
I don't believe our code accepts postmarks on water bills. They have to be received in the office. I wish she would have brought it to the office instead of the post office.
I agree.
Save herself 75 cents or whatever the stamp costs.
Yeah, I agree that it's not in our code. I have in the past advocated to get it added to our code. If that's something that this board would entertain, I would happily help get that to Matt, because I think as the process of, when this initially was a topic was when mail changed from what was it, 3 days to 5 days? Was that what it was back then? It was when I initially made this proposal, because I think it's kind of out of the hands of the resident at that point. For folks who are mailing their stuff locally, they can just come drop it right at the office, which obviously is ideal. We've been working well over a year at this point to get online bill payments, which, even though there's an additional fee associated with that, it would eliminate a lot of this as well. Charging a late fee to someone because a governmental agency did not do their part of the job is tough when we have the proof. In this case, I don't know, we didn't get the bill, so I don't really understand the proof situation. But in places when we've gotten a postmarked letter that just didn't get to us, and we haven't been able to forgive that fee, I think it's not I hate to make it the responsibility of the resident when, if their water bill is late, I don't know that we're receiving a penalty. So for us to pass a penalty on to a resident who did their part because another government agency didn't do their part it's tough for me to swallow. So I'd like to see postmarks added to our code, but I'm just one voice.
I would not be interested in that at all.
Okay.
Scott?
Yeah, I like what Debbie said. Could have just come right over to the village office and paid it. It is a flawed system. But it's our system, and that's the way it's always been done. So if it's late, it is late.
I don't think it happens that often. To constitute changing the whole, and then there would be the added work at the clerk's office to be reversing penalties. And I mean, here it is a much later, and we still don't have it. So, and with the online bill pay, when and if it gets, well, not when, but, or not if, but when it gets up and running, ought to alleviate a lot of problems from the mail service.
Mark?
I agree with Debbie that, I don't think that, we should be waiving that. I think it's gonna be a learning thing for her that, at that point, you can drop that off at the village office. We even have a drive-through. So she doesn't have to get out of the car. But, that's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. So we did have another one call today from the same date, that it was postmarked on the same date, from a bank sending a check. So something happened on November 24th, and we still have not received either one of those payments, from the residents, and they both came from Lakewood Village. I did go over to the post office and I spoke with the supervisor over there today. We've had meetings in my office before. When we get these bills, she would like to know when we get them and where they traveled. And speaking with Jada and Hallie today, we are going to put a notice in the next quarter's water bill billing on for our residents. Once again, making them aware that we do have a drive-through service and we do have a night depository box so people do not have to mail their payments in if they're local, and instead of going to the post office to mail them, they could come right through our drive-through. We're kind of thinking that some people aren't aware of that yet, but we are going to, and we do accept credit card payments over the phone with a 2.65% processing fee. We do need to do better. We need to get the online payment up and running. I'm hoping that Jess can step in a little bit, being our tech girl, and look into that a little bit more to see if we can't get that going.
Yeah, just for what it's worth, Miranda has really been on this company. I'll figure it out, but I'll figure out whether or not we need to change companies. But Miranda's definitely done her due diligence to try to get these guys in gear. We agreed a long time ago to get this thing in motion, and they're just not. It's an internal problem with the company, not with the clerk's office.
I think it's because of the age of our software.
That's correct. I sent an email advising everyone where we're at.
So it's not totally their fault. They're working with software that no one else has but us.
Yeah.
So, because we can't afford an update to our software. So there you go.
So just to clarify, before I move on, there is no motion to remove this late fee, correct?
I mean, I'll make the motion, but I can count.
Okay.
I'll make
Motion by Marciano to remove the late fee. Is there a second? Okay, motion died. We have, there's some outside decorations at Ben's Opera House. They've submitted their certificate of insurance liability to have the 2 soldiers and the ornament. They're also looking to change the ornament to a heart after Christmas. And we need board approval for them to have the outside ornaments on the sidewalk.
So
Okay, motion by Marciano,
Second.
by Padelewski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. They also took down their fencing per village code because all fencing is supposed to be down by the time November 1st hits. And last year we allowed them to keep it up by board resolution until after Christmas. And they did not make that request this year, and they wanted to make the request, but they were working to follow the code and they took their fencing down. So now it's down. Would the board be willing to allow this in the future so that we don't have to keep adding it to our agenda? Along with the ornaments, with it, if they're the same ornaments with a certificate of liability, and I guess I should have said that earlier on, and the fencing up until after Christmas if they maintain the sidewalk.
Like, we have to change our code or amend our code to do that?
No, it's just permission. It's kind of like Fitzgibbon's, they have to have permission to leave their fencing up because the code specifies we could look at changing the code.
I know it's probably a hassle, but I feel like they should probably just ask every year. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how you do permission going forward without changing the code. But Matt probably would know better than me. So maybe we can revisit this next month.
Are we, and then does that hold true for the outdoor decorations too? If they're the same decorations year after year? If they have a certificate of liability insurance, do you want them to apply every year?
Why do they need that permission? Because of the sidewalk?
Because it's on the sidewalk and there's a liability, if they should fall
I think
over.
it's good to have it on record.
So no, just year to year for everything?
Or at least let's at least get Matt's input on what it would take to give the permission.
Okay.
Like if it's a resolution or a code amendment or caveat or whatever, he'll know better than us.
Okay. Are you good with that, Scott and Mark?
Good.
Okay. We have, the board has been presented with a memorandum of agreement with the Police Benevolent Association regarding a time clock. A resolution to approve that the mayor signed the MOU.
I didn't have that.
I don't have either.
We do not have the MOU. How did we miss that? Okay. Okay, is the board comfortable if I read this to them so that we can approve it tonight? Because we just had to get an extension with the attorneys involved in this. If I read it and you're comfortable with it, are you prepared to vote, or is it just going to be a waste of my time?
You can read it. You can read it. I was curious though about this. I'm just wondering how this was happening with the PBA. I mean, we're still in arbitration with them.
They touch on that in here. So I know you're going to read it, but just for a recap and for folks who are, no, I'm good. You can.
Well, some
imaginary
background
big bucks
would
for it. Yeah.
be helpful. I mean,
So
this is-
initially, when we started, we had initially had a conversation with folks from the comptroller's office, and one of the things that they wanted us to do was to verify our timekeeping when they were checking us out. And when we did not have a timekeeping record for our salaried employees, they recommended we implement one. We already have one for our hourly employees in the DPW. We rolled that out across the other departments. Most of the other departments did adopt it without going through their union through a formal grievance. We got an improper practice charge from the PBA because they misunderstood because the directive was understood as we have to, and I believe the directive was written by the previous chief as that it was, you have to download this app on your phone, which is what the majority of the hourly department is doing. And they did not want to download the app onto their phone, which is not actually a part of the village process. But because they received it as an understanding that they were going to have to download an app that they felt would track their movements outside of the work day and work time, they felt it was too invasive on their personal devices. They were not aware that there was a computer option when they filed the improper practice charge. When we went through the computer option with them, they discussed, some of the wording that they wanted in the MOU specific to whether or not this would be used as a sole disciplinary event. Like, they're a little suspicious of it because they haven't had to use it before. And this is just my perception. Nobody said the word suspicious in these meetings, but they had concerns that, this thing could malfunction and cause them to get written up or something. So one of the things that we have in the MOU is that this is going to be it could be supporting documentation, but it is not going to be the sole thing. I mean, we got 12 folks in the department. If somebody's late to their shift, it's not the time clock that's going to notify that. Or notify us of that. It's the fact that you're not there and you're one of two people who's supposed to be here at shift turnover. So, once they understood that this wasn't just gonna be like, the time clock equivalent of a red light camera, they felt comfortable with it. The way that we worded it is that it is going to be rolled into the agreement when it is signed. This will be a part of it. So when we eventually get our signed contract, this will go along with it.
So they're not using the time clock now.
I actually don't know.
I don't think so.
They're not.
Yeah, I think they probably, well, I'm hoping they're waiting for this because the union leaders seemed, they felt that this would make the union body comfortable.
Even though it's not gonna be technically effective until,
No, it's effective when it's signed, when the contract, but what they're saying is when the contract gets signed, it doesn't make this go away. This becomes part of the new contract, but it's effective when it's signed.
okay, well, we had tried to pass policies earlier, that they also objected to, and there was no memorandum of agreement written up to. Well, I'll just,
Yeah, this isn't specifically in response to their improper practice charge. This was the resolution to that charge.
so what does it say? What is there a give and take, or what's the?
No, Margaret can read it, but it's literally just an explanation that's a little bit more fulsome than the original directive that they got. And specifically calling out the one thing that seemed important to them was that it would not be utilized as a